bringing metal to the masses. OnslaughtRadio.com.
Okie dokie. This is Onslaught Radio. I'm Natalie, and I am backstage at the Forum in London, where I'm talking to Tom from Triptykon. How's it going, Tom?
It's going very, very, very well. I'm surprised to hear you say okie dokie, though. Got you.
It's my favourite word.
Well, that's what you usually hear in America, not in London, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that? I thought it was a very British thing to say.
Really? No. To me, it's like I shouldn't say that, but it's quite a hick thing, isn't it? In America.
Now I just sound common.
Well, here it's probably totally trendy. I don't know.
No, I think it's just me.
We raced already the entire interview time on nothing, you know.
Awesome. Well, tell me a bit about the tour then. How's that been going? I mean, it's an amazing lineup. How does it feel to be performing alongside, you know, Cannibal Corpse and all of the bands on the roster?
Well, the lineup is indeed quite special. We're very good friends with Enslaved for quite a long time, and we've been friends also with Cannibal Corpse. So this is more than ideal. I've been looking forward to bringing Triptykon over here for quite a long time. I've had a very deep relationship with this country, with Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost was basically had its breakthrough in London and with the press in Great Britain, and I owe much of my career to the press over here and the fans over here. So of course I wanted to come over here with Triptykon too. It's just a personal thing. And after the amazing welcome we received at Bloodstock, it was fantastic to get this offer, and especially, like you said, on this tour, which to me is not like any other tour. It's to be touring with friends is fantastic.
And obviously you said you were over here for Bloodstock last year, and having been in Celtic Frost and then being in Triptykon, have you noticed any differences in the way that people are reacting to the music over here, or is it pretty much the same as it was back in your Celtic Frost days?
It is pretty much the same as far as the reaction is concerned. I think I'm very fortunate to get such reactions. I know you're gone very quickly in this industry, and I've been doing this for quite a while. I have my ups and downs, and it's a huge honor and a huge pleasure to get such a reaction. The only thing that I think has changed is there's an incredible amount of very young fans, which we've all talked about many times since Triptykon has begun touring 1.5 years ago. It's astonishing. When I reformed Celtic Frost in the mid-2000s with Martin Ain, we talked often about would we have the strength to not only lure the fans from the old days, but also to be relevant to fans today, which it's very difficult. There's huge competition out there, and it's a very different kind of music industry than it used to be. We already had uncounted young fans in Celtic Frost, and now with Triptykon it just seems to have become even more pronounced, which to me is a fantastic sign. It's very good to that this kind of music is still pulling young people, is still interesting young people in spite of all the other stuff that's out there.
Do you feel like the music is changing at all to kind of almost cater to a younger audience, or is it still pretty much the same, but more people are being drawn to it?
As far as the characteristics are concerned that you just mentioned, I think it's pretty much the same. It's always been a music that caters to people who feel probably somehow unhappy in the situation they are. It's a very rebellious music. It's a music designed to drive away the parents and the politicians and the teachers, all the people that make your life difficult, especially at that age, when you're struggling to define your own personality. And you really want to be left alone. You want to create your own world, and you love it when it drives your parents up the wall. The music is still the same. What has changed, unfortunately, is there's population on this planet has doubled since I was born, and you can really tell. I mean, there's an uncounted amount of available entertainment, and within that there's an incredible amount of bands now, much more than ever before. Everybody's a musician, and of course that's everybody's right, but it kind of dilutes the quality that's out there. It's no longer so magical. It's no longer such a special thing to do music. It's become very saturated, and I think that's kind of sad. Even though, of course, I embrace modern technology, I definitely don't live in the past. But there's certain things, especially when it concerns metal music, which to me has to be magical. That's kind of a shame that it's gone.
Would you say that kind of metal as a whole has changed from, sort of the era of the CD, and now we're in sort of MP3s, and, you can download anything you want, really? Do you feel like metal has kind of evolved and changed with that time?
Well, it's just become much easier to make your own stand and to define your band vis-a-vis the record industry. The record industry used to have the all-important power over every aspect of your life if you were in a band in the 1980s. And nowadays, with modern technology, you have so much more freedom. You can define yourself. You're completely independent. I think that's the biggest change. Everything else, the music itself, to me, feels much the same. There's a little more advances in playing technique and stuff, but by and large, it's still the same. It's just we've all become much more independent, which is a good thing, a very good thing.
Obviously, going back to sort of you as a band, you released both the album and your EP in 2010. Can you tell me a bit about how that was received?
Fortunately, it's been received fantastically. We've been very lucky to have a very successful album and EP. When I left Celtic Frost, I knew I was leaving quite a big house, and I've been part of this year. 30 years ago, I formed Hellhammer. In May 1982, I formed Hellhammer. So I've been around for quite a while, and I know how quickly you can lose everything in this industry. Tomorrow you're forgotten. And every new album, you never know. Success is never guaranteed. You never know whether your emotion are going to connect with the emotions of the fans. Yeah. So when I left Celtic Frost, I was prepared for a very long path for Triptykon, and I'm not afraid to work. It's been going much faster than I ever anticipated, which is a blessing, but it also increases the pressure. But we're very grateful. We're very, very happy the way it's been going. I never expected that when I left Celtic Frost. I'm very, very flattered and I'm very grateful.
And what have you guys got planned for sort of the rest? Obviously, the tour is ending fairly soon. What have you guys got planned for sort of the rest of this year? Well,
we play a number of festivals this year. We're also talking about some individual shows all over Europe. We're looking at a full European tour again for possibly the end of the year or early next year. We're working on an EP, we're working on an album, we're working on a concert film, I'm working on 3 books, I'm working on the death masks that I'm doing. There's plenty of stuff. I'm probably even forgetting something. So there's plenty of stuff. It's not going to happen overnight. This sounds like a lot, but I'm not about to chuck out stuff like a conveyor belt. These are all ongoing projects. Some of them will take longer, some of them not. But we are involved in a number of projects, and they will eventually see the light of the day.
It does sound like you are very busy, but you sound very on top of it, and everything will sort of come fairly soon. Have you thought much about sort of writing for a second album, or is it kind of just in the process and it will happen as and when it does?
I always write. I never stop writing. I mean, after an album, you let it dip a little bit because you're a little bit exhausted, and you also don't want to be writing stuff in the same vein. But I write sketches for lyrics and for music all the time, wherever I am. And I've been thinking about the next album for like 1.5 years now. I mean, in fact, the album is fully designed. The title has been determined. The third album of Triptykon is also fully designed. The booklet, everything, the artwork, the title, everything is fully designed. The band has seen it. So we are nothing's haphazard. Everything has a long path of gestation, and everything is well planned.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we have a lot of very exciting things coming from Triptykon in the future.
I hope so. I'm a human being, and the prospect of writing a good album is very intimidating. Even this is going to be my 13th album, and it's never become easier. If anything, it's become more difficult. There's fantastic bands out there that are competition, and I don't have a secret recipe to a good album. It's very, very difficult to write a good album. I've failed at points in my life. I've been very lucky. The last 2 albums, Celtic Frost and Triptykon, have been very successful. But as I said earlier, that just increases the pressure. I'm very aware of that. The whole world will look at what Triptykon is going to do next, and that's not an easy position to be in as a writer. So I'm excited and cautious at the same time. I'll believe it when it's out. I'm a human being, I still don't know how to do a good album.
Well, we're very excited to hear what Triptykon have to offer in the future. Thank you very much for talking to Onslaught Radio, and have a great show this evening.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, Natalie.